If the Pac-12 is able to stay together in the future stabilized state of the Pac-12 conference, I can envision Commissioner George Kliavkoff forcing the Arizona and Arizona State presidents to sit in the corner during conversations, during discussions and negotiations and decisions being made, or maybe even force them to leave the room during special sessions. We kid because we care. Pac-12, I want you to stay together. But your two presidents in the desert state, I don't know if that's officially what it's called, it's the territorial state, we get good information out of them, or disinformation or misinformation. We shall see where this lands. But they're the ones talking, and they've been the ones talking for the last several weeks and months. And the latest comes courtesy the interview of Andrew Haubner, who covers the Pac-12. He interviewed Arizona President Robert Robbins. Quote, there's a lot of disinformation. For instance, that Arizona is going to the Big 12, Robbins said recently in this interview. We're not going to the Big 12. We're not going to the Big 12. We want to see what the deal is here in the Pac-12. Well, are you not going to the Big 12, or are you waiting to see what the deal is here in the Pac-12? Because we are all, including Arizona State, and all the other schools, want to keep the Conference of Champions together. We're locking arms. Well, are you locking arms, or are you waiting for the commissioner to do the best that he can to get us the best media deal? Which is it? Robbins goes on to say, I put it at greater than 95% chance we're going to get a great deal. We're all going to be happy, and the Conference of Champions will stay together. End quote. But then again, here we go. Robbins, in earlier remarks to the San Jose Mercury News, quote, it's heavily dependent on Pac-12 Commissioner George Kliavkoff and his team negotiating a good media deal. So it's dependent on the media deal for us to stay competitive. I don't think anybody wants to leave. Well, that's not what we're asking, whether you want to leave, but are you going to leave? What are the percentage chances? Well, I guess you say it's 5%. He does say here, why would you move for a couple $1 million a year more? And there's obviously a dividing line for each one of these Pac-12 schools. They know what the number needs to be, and not that that number's a hard and fast number like $27.6 million. If it's above, then we're going to stay in the Pac-12. If it's below, we are leaving for the Big 12. But they generally know what that number needs to be. So we remind you what Robbins said just a few weeks ago to The Athletic. He said, quote, I tell Brett, that's your Mark, the Big 12 commissioner, all the time, and we've got some really good friends over the years and who are presidents now in the Big 12 schools. I love you guys, but if the roles were reversed, I would not expect any of you to leave the Big 12 if you did not know what the deal you were getting there. And Robbins, when asked a question about the Pac-12's potential demise, we've got to see what deal we're getting, and then I'll be able to make an informed decision. He later states that it's all speculation and people are fear-mongering, and says you don't want to be the last because there might not be a seat for you. So basically he's saying and condemning people for fear-mongering, but at the same time then he makes statements that would cause anybody to fear-monger, because he's basically saying if we don't get the deal, then we're gone. He says here, well, I'm not buying into that. I have not seen anyone else jump and run. It would be a problem if enough people did, obviously, and that's what Brett and the Big 12 are banking on. If you can get Arizona and Colorado to say yes, then the whole Pac-12, and he's saying a lot right here, what's left of it, blows up. You don't use the terms blows up if you want to diffuse fear-mongering. And then if we're going to tag team this with what his buddy Michael Crow, president at Arizona State University, said about the situation a couple weeks ago, of course, there have been no discussions with the Big 12, even though CBS Sports is reporting differently. I mean, well, there's been discussions between everyone everywhere in all things related to where our conference is going and where stuff is going to end up. Well, that sounds like realignment talk, where stuff is going to end up and what's happening. And then Crow tries to set the record straight and get back to the company line or the conference line in this matter. We are committed to the Pac-12. So the bottom line is the Pac-12 needs a media rights deal. We've been told for several weeks that it's coming anytime, and it's not come. We do know this about negotiations, that the weaker of the two sides, the more vulnerable of the two sides, is hurt by time. Time elapsed. And the longer this goes on, the weaker the position of the Pac-12, the more desperate they will be to sign a deal to get something done. Your thoughts down below. Leave your comments about the Pac-12. Will it stay together? What are the other factors? We just posted a video that we will leave in the description section as well, which will point to what the dominoes are in addition to the Pac-12 media rights deal. There are other dominoes, and it appears that they're going to fall in a certain order, but they could go out of order, and then they could causation all sorts of events across the nation. Let's talk it up right here at the Voice of College Football. See you next time.